Good morning, Mama. So good to see you. Welcome to your prenatal class. So, for every prenatal class, I'm going to suggest that you have all the props. You're definitely going to be needing 2 yoga blocks, most likely a little blanket. Anything from around the house is fine. Any cushions that you have, pillows just from the bed are okay. The more support, the better. So if you need a minute to go and grab those things, please do. You can pause me, and then when you're ready, come back down to the mat. So, yes, the physical actions of yoga are important during your pregnancy, but more so than that is the mindfulness practices that you are passing to the life that's inside of you. So just as you kind of restrict your diet when you have this growing life, because the food that you eat goes to the baby, it's the same thing with our thoughts. So the more stress, the more anxiety, the more negativity that we have in our minds and in our bodies, the baby does feel. So it is very important that we use practices such as meditation, yoga, mindfulness, breathing techniques to calm ourselves down in high states of stress. Especially in the second trimester of our pregnancies, the baby begins to grow its limbic system in the brain. And what the limbic system is the feelings, the emotions. So sure, this little tiny peanut is so small and its brain is teeny tiny, but it's very, very intelligent. So everything that you do now is of utmost importance for the baby's health. So with that being said, we're going to begin our class with meditation, breathing, really becoming in touch with our body, coming in touch with the life that's inside of us, and really just being in the moments with your body in this really special time of your life. So to begin, we're going to start in hero's pose or virasana. So I'm already sitting in it, but we're going to do it with some props. So you're going to make sure that you have space between the thighs, probably about a forearm's width distance. Yes, you do have a belly, so I will remember that. You're going to go ahead and grab your blocks and stack them on top of one another so you have enough space here. And if you want, you can also place a blanket on top of the blocks. You can also place a cushion on top of the blocks. So you're sitting on the heels. The thighs are about forearms width distance apart. Allow for the hands to just kind of rest on the thighs. And then close down your eyes. Take an inhale through the nose, fill the lungs, fill the chest, and then gently let that go. Start to become aware of your body, start to become aware of this moment, this special moment you have with just yourself and your new baby inside of you. Go ahead and take an in-breath and an out-breath. I do want to encourage you to take audible breaths, so making as much noise as you can. In breath through the nose, and then out your mouth, exhale, let it go. So becoming more centered, becoming more aware of this body just sitting here, the body just being. Go ahead and take both hands down to your belly. Place your hands just in a nurturing position over the baby, over this body inside of you. Start to really feel the connection. Allow for the palms of the hands to feel the energy underneath them. Start to breathe here. Feel the belly rising with every inhale. And then that belly softening with the exhales. Again, inhale, really feel the connection of the belly to the hands. And then the exhale as you let it go. And as we're here feeling what it's like to just kind of tenderly hold this life inside of you, we can start to have a more friendly conversation with ourselves. Starting to say these friendly reminders, you can repeat to yourself, I am a divine creator. And again, repeating to yourself, I am a divine creator. One more time with the inhale, repeat to yourself, I am a divine creator. With the next inhale, repeat to yourself, I am powerful and I am love. Next one, I am powerful, I am love. And if you feel more comfortable even saying them out loud, you're welcome to do so, or just repeating that to yourself is okay. I am powerful, I am love. In this last round, repeating to ourselves, I have life inside of me. I love my body. And again, with the in-breath, I have life inside of me. I love my body. One more time with the in-breath, I have life inside of me. I love my body. Maybe you hold your hands a little bit closer and feel the connection. Feel that power that you have done, that creation you have created. You are divine. You are a divine force, and you are a divine creator of life. Good. Take one more really big, deep inhale. Maybe start to rub the belly with the hands. And then let it go. Good job. Release your hands down to your thighs. You can start to blink the eyes open. And then you're just gently going to lift up off of the blocks. Take your blocks and place them at the top of your mat. Make sure any other props are just kind of out of the way. So you're sitting back now onto the heels. You can always keep the legs nice and wide for space for that growing belly. And then with that space for the belly, go ahead and drop down onto your left forearm. And then come up onto your left fingertips. So left forearm is down, right fingertips are up. You have space for the belly. Start with moving through a cat and cow here. So you're pulling the mat towards you. You're drawing the heart forward and you're lifting the tailbone up as you gaze up. And then with the exhale, you press away, moving through a variation of cat. So you just round through the spine, gaze goes towards the belly. Keep going as you pull the mat towards you with the left forearm and the right fingertips as you gaze up, tailbone lifts. Exhale, press the mat away, round and gaze towards the belly. Two more, inhale, gaze up, heart lifts, tailbone lifts. Exhale, rounds, gaze towards the belly. Inhale, lift through the heart, the chest, the collarbones expand. Start to feel that release of the low back. Exhale, let it go. Good. Now drop your right forearm down, come up onto the left fingertips. Good. And then again, same thing, cow pose. Try and pull the belly towards the thighs. Lift the heart, lift the chest. Tailbone lifts up. Exhale as you press away, round through the back, gaze towards the belly. Inhale as you lift through the chest, the heart, gaze up, tailbone lifts. Exhale as you round through the back, gaze towards the belly. Couple more rounds, your own breath. Recognizing that in this stage of pregnancy, the low back feels incredible amounts of pressure and pain. As the baby grows, we need to make space for the baby. So it's not that we can remove our organs from our body, but the body literally recalibrates and reorganizes itself. The diaphragm becomes really pressed up towards our throat. Breathing becomes incredibly challenging. And our low back takes most of that pressure. So do our ankles, so do our thighs. So really doing movements as such to release the back. Come down onto both forearms now. And then move through that little movement of cat and cow here. So now draw both forearms towards the bellies. Lift the tailbone up. Draw the belly towards the thighs. Collarbone spread. You gaze up. Take a nice inhale. Exhale as you press the forearms into the mat and you round through the back. This movement feels really nice, so take it slow and really focus the attention on the low back, sending ourselves gentle, easy, calming thoughts. Inhaling through and exhaling, pressing away to a little baby cow. And then you come up to neutral spine, just that nice flat back. And then just take this into child's pose. So make sure you have lots of space for that belly. Maybe you open the legs even wider. I like to even take blocks, take them closer so they're on the lowest height. And you can even rest the forearms here and let the forehead drop down. Keep sitting the weight back towards the heels. Inhale. Exhale. Good. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. So to walk the hands in towards you. Now let's bring a little bit more movement into our practice. Come up into a tabletop position. You can gently move the blocks out of the way. So you're coming up onto hands and knees. Make sure that the wrists are stacked in line with the shoulder, and then the knees and the thighs are in line with the hips. Make sure all 10 fingers are spread wide like you're about to give a big high five, pressing in through the fingertips and pressing into the palms of the hands. This will protect the wrists. Move through cat and cow here. So as you let that belly drop, always make space for that baby. So maybe the legs are a little bit wider. And then we're just going to kind of hold here in this cow pose with the belly nice and sunken, tailbone lifting, collarbones spreading apart. Just let everything relax away from the low back. This should feel really nice because that pressure is releasing from the sacrum area where we're holding the weight of a human. So just kind of be here, breathe. And then when you're ready, exhale, press into the tops of the feet, start to round through the back, come in through cat, gaze towards your little baby belly. Inhale, as the tailbone lifts up, the collarbones spread, you let the pressure come off of the low back through cat, cow. Exhale as you round up through cat, tailbone tucks. A couple more, your own breath, your own movement. Good. Neutral. Very good. We're going to take a step forward with our right foot between the hands. Maybe the right foot is wiggled a little bit further to the right to, again, make space for the belly. We're coming into a low lunge. Go ahead and grab onto your blocks. Take them to the highest height at the top of the mat and just allow for the hips to sink forward. Hands stay pressing onto the blocks. The blocks are there for support. Make sure you have optimal space for that belly. So as wide as you need to wiggle that right foot out to the side, go ahead and do it. So we're using the blocks for support. If you feel like you really don't need the blocks for support, one hand comes to the low back, then the other. Hands stay on our low back throughout our practice for that added support. You can try and just hold here, squeezing the inner thighs in. It's very important through our yoga practice at this stage in the pregnancy to start to strengthen the inner thighs, strengthen the outer hips, and the whole pelvic floor. We're going to work through that a bit today. Hold here in low lunge. Keep sinking the hips forward. Take an inhale and an exhale. Go ahead and take your hands back towards the block. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, step forward to a wider stance to make space for that belly. Inhale to a halfway lift. Keep some bend in your knees. Gaze is to the top of the mat. Hands are up on the highest height of the blocks. Inhale. And then exhale, just allow yourself to fold forward. You can take your hands to opposite elbows, kind of clasping hands opposite elbows and just giving yourself a little sway. Make sure to always keep a little bit of bend in the knees. You can start to straighten the legs if it feels inviting and okay within your body. But listen to the body. Listen to what feels right. Give yourself a little sway. Make sure that the neck is relaxed. Good. Hands come back to the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Butt sticks back, heart and crown of the head stick forward. Take one hand to your low back, then the other. Bend into the knees even more and start to come up to standing. We come into Urdhva Hastasana. So hands can be on the low back for this standing posture. As you start to really just allow the hips to come forward, Let the tailbone tuck. Let the heart lift. You can also, if you feel safe and the back feels okay, reach the arms up and overhead. Here's my baby. This is little Rio, little river kitten. Just got her. Hands can always reach up and overhead if it feels okay for you. Make sure you have space, optimal space, so the legs are nice and wide, even wider than the hips. Reach, reach, reach up. Gaze up towards the prayer of the hands, or hands are on the low back. Take a nice big inhale with the gaze up. Exhale, hands come to heart center, and then take your hands to your hips. Start some pelvic rotations in a nice circular motion. Big circles here. Hi, baby cat. Nice big circles. And go ahead and reverse it. Good. And then we take our hands back to your low back. One more Urdhva Hastasana. So you sink the hips forward, you gaze up towards the sky, or you lift the prayer up and overhead. It's up to you. With the exhale, hands come back down to the low back if they're not already. Bend through the knees, start to hinge forward at the hips, come into a forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, take your hands up to the blocks. And now go ahead and step your right foot to the back of the mat. Drop your right knee down. Come into low lunge on the other side. Make sure you, again, have optimal space for that sweet, sweet belly. Wiggle the left foot as wide as you need, allowing for the hips to really sink forward. Allow for the thighs to start to stretch and strengthen. Maybe you stay up on the blocks, or maybe you start to lift one hand to the low back, then the other, and kind of hang out here. Squeeze the inner thighs in together to touch. Press down through that front left foot, and then press down through the top of the right foot. Yeah, very good. Take a nice inhale and an exhale. Good. Take your hands down to the blocks, and then just step your left knee back to meet the right. Come through tabletop position. Good. You're going to take your weight forward onto the top of the quads. So the weight travels forward. You can start to bend the knees, maybe lift the heels towards the glutes. We're going to do a few push-ups. Take it to your own degree. Take it to your own level. What feels right? Maybe you need to wiggle the knees back to find some space. We're going to bend the elbows to whatever degree you can and start to hover. Hug the elbows in towards the rib cage. 1. Press yourself back up. Exhale, lower down. Lift. 1 more. Exhale, lower down. Lift. Very good. Come back to tabletop. So lower the knees so they're under the hips. Very good. Let's start to speed this up a little bit more. So take your blocks back to the top of their mat if they're not already. Take a step forward with your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Let the hips kind of sink forward. This time, hands stay on the blocks. Tuck your right toes. Lift your right knee off of the earth. So you're in more of like a runner's lunge position. Really strengthening our back thigh here. Strong, active legs. We're pressing down so much and engaging so much, as if I could sit on your back leg and I wouldn't go anywhere. Keep strengthening. Keep gazing forward for 3. Keep breathing for 2. For 1. Very good. Take a step forward with that right foot to the outside of the right hands. Hands stay on the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Feet are nice and wide here to make space for the belly. Exhale, fold over the legs. Hands come to the low back. Inhale, slowly lift yourself up into Urdhva Hastasana. Again, hands can stay on that low back as you sink the hips forward, gaze up, or hands come to prayer up and overhead as you gaze up here. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Take your hands to your hips, and then those nice pelvic rotations, big circles here. Go ahead and reverse. Come to neutral. Take your hands back to your low back as you gaze up. Hips come forward. Gently bend into the knees and fold over the legs. Hands come down to the blocks. Inhale, lift up halfway. And then exhale, left foot steps back this time. Keep that left knee lifted. Allow for the belly to have the space it needs. Strong left leg here. Again, squeeze the inner thighs in together. So it's a slight feeling of pulling your right hip back in space and drawing your left hip forward. Keep breathing. Keep pressing so much into the sole of the right foot. And keep trying to stack your left heel on top of your left toes. Take another inhale. And an exhale. Good. Take another inhale. And a slow exhale. Start to lower your left knee down onto the earth. Untuck the toes. Come into a low lunge, allowing for the hips to really sink forward here. Nice job. Inhale. And exhale it out. Good. And with control, right knee meets the left. Come into tabletop position. Take your hands off of the blocks. Now we're going to tuck the toes, lift the knees, keep bend in the knees. You're going to start to press into the hands and press the belly towards the thighs, coming into downward facing dog. And again, the feet are as wide as you need here, maybe even as wide as the mat to make space for the belly. I do want you to have bend in the knees for your downward facing dogs to release the back. We want the back protected here. So the more bend we have in the knees, the more space we have for the spine. Gaze is back between the feet. Keep pressing into the hands for 3, for 2, for 1. Can you gaze forward and just take little tippy toes to the top of the mat? Good. So once you're here, feet are still wide. Go ahead and take those blocks, hands up on the highest height of the blocks. Inhale, halfway lifts. Nice bend in the knees. Exhale, folds over. Hands come to your low back. And then slow inhale up to standing. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, hips sink forward, gaze up. And then exhale, straight neutral spine. You can take your hands to a prayer position. Take another inhale. And an exhale. Very good. Start to wiggle the feet a little bit closer. Maybe about hips width distance apart. Go ahead and take your hands down to your hips. Let's come into a warrior 1. We're going to start with our right leg forward. Just go ahead and step your left foot back. So the left foot is at a bit of a diagonal, enough so the left heel can drop down onto the earth. So the pinky toe edge of that left foot is really rooting down. We're bending into our front knee about 90 degrees. And then we're taking our hands to our hips if they're not already, and then squaring them off towards the top of the mat. Maybe you even wiggle your right foot a little bit further to the right to, again, always make space for the belly and make space for the squared hips. Keep strengthening through the back leg. So always as if I could sit on that back leg and I wouldn't go anywhere. Strong, active, engaged. Keep bending into that front knee. Take it to your own degree. Take it a little bit past your limits. We do want to strengthen our inner thighs and that whole pelvic floor. This is an amazing posture to do it. Not to mention the warrior pose is very, very symbolic to that internal warrior goddess inside of us. You can take your hands to your low back if that feels more supportive. Or maybe you start to reach your arms up and overhead. Really just allowing ourselves to be here for 3, for 2, for 1. Very good. Start to straighten your front right leg. We're going to come into Trikonasana pose. So you can take your hands to your hips and then start to wiggle your right foot towards the center of the mat. This left foot, the left toes are still facing the long edge of the mat. Good. So this posture is really great for stretching the whole pelvic floor area of our body, the inner thighs, the hips, everything that we're looking for. So hands are on the hips. Start to bump your hips to the left as much as you can. The torso starts to come parallel towards the top of the mat. You can always keep some bend in that right knee. Very good. From here, you can take your arms out like a T. Keep reaching, right fingertips towards me. And if you can't reach anymore, you can gently start to lower your right fingertips down towards your right shin and left arm lifts up. You can always, let's go ahead and grab a block on the highest height and take it to the inside of that right foot. From here, just allow yourself to lean back. As you lean back, You're slowly and slightly externally rotating that front right thigh. So it's almost as if it's trying to press away from you. Yes. Keep breathing. You can also have your left hand on your hip. Anything that feels inviting and comfortable for you. Hold here for 3, for 2, and 1. We're going to lift up into a warrior 2. So you're going to start to bend back into your front right knee. Arms open up like a big T. Good. So this left heel is fully rooted down, and it's actually parallel with the back of the mat now. Keep sinking the hips. Keep lowering the hips. Very good. Again, always have your hands on your low back if it feels more supportive. Good. The heart, this is the center point of the body here, so lean back slightly, and then all of the limbs kind of reach out from here. Gaze is over the right fingertips. Strong, active arms, not lazy arms. We are a warrior. We are a creator. Keep breathing for 3, 2, and 1. Very, very good. And take your hands to your hips, and then we're literally just going to step forward with control. Very good. Take a breath here. Hands can be on the hips, or they can be on your low back. Move through a half salutation. Start to widen your feet just a little bit. Inhale, hands stay on the low back, or they reach up and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Gentle bend into the knees as you slowly fold over the thighs. Blocks are underneath the shoulders on the highest height. Inhale, lift up halfway. Nice bend in the knees. Good. Exhale, fold it over. Take your hands to your low back and then slowly come up to standing. Very good. Let's move in through our other side. You're going to take your feet a little bit wider. Good. So left toes are facing forward, and then go ahead and just take a step back with your right foot. Come into warrior 1. So the pinky toe edge of that right foot is really rooted down. Right foot is at a bit of a diagonal. Left foot sort of wiggles over towards the left to make space for the hips and for the belly. Hands are to the hips. We start to square the hips off towards the top of the mat. Bend back into that front left knee, 90-degree angle. And then strong, keep squeezing the inner thighs in, keep trying to pull the left hip back and keep pulling the right hip forward. You can stay here with the hands on the hips or on the low back. Otherwise, you can reach the arms up and over, head biceps framing the ears. Strong warrior, you have that baby inside of you. How can you embody the warrior? Can you persevere? Can you be strong? Knowing that the body is there to guide you, to hold you, support you through for 3. Keep sinking lower. 2, 1. Straighten that front left leg. We're going to come into Trikonasana, so take your hands back to your hips. We're going to look back at that right foot and just realign it. So we want to make sure that the right heel is in line with the left. The right foot is actually going to be parallel to the back of the mat. Good. Hands are to the hips, so to bump your hips towards the right, all the way towards the back of the mat, and then arms come out like a T. You can also grab that block, make sure it's to the inside of that left foot. Yeah, arms out like a T, and then keep reaching your fingertips towards the screen, all the way until the left fingertips come down onto the block. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. You keep leaning back. And keep leaning back. Stay here. This is strengthening the inner thighs. This is opening up the pelvic floor for 3, for 2, and 1. Start to bend into your front left knee. Warrior 2 as you lift up. Arms come out like a big T. Let's widen the stance. So start to wiggle your right foot even further back. Right foot is still parallel towards the back of the mat. Rebend into your front left knee, about 90-degree angle. And again, we have a tendency to lean forward here. Can you lean back? Make sure the heart is over the hips. All of the limbs are kind of spreading out through that heart center. Fingertips are really stretching out wide. We're bending into that front left knee. Right leg is strong. Pinky toe edge of that right foot is pressing into the earth. We feel the pelvic floor strengthening. We feel the inner thighs strengthening. Gaze over the left fingertips for 3, for 2, and 1. Take your hands to your hips. Just gently straighten that left foot. Wiggle the right foot in slowly, and then just come up to standing at the top of the mat. Good job. Widen the feet. Take those pelvic rotations. And reverse it. Keep breathing. Take your hands to your low back. Press the hips forward. Lift the chin up towards the sky. Inhale. Gentle bend into the knees. Exhale, fold over. Make space for that belly. Hands come up on the highest height of the blocks. Halfway lift. Flat back. Very good. This time, wiggle the feet even wider than the mat. Heels and toes out. Take the block and stack them on top of one another so they're underneath your sitting bones. You're going to have them parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then you can have your hands down on the mat with the bent knees, and you're going to slowly lower down into malasana or deep squat with your little booty sitting on the blocks. And if this feels really impossible or way too far from the earth, stack up more things on top of the block. Stack cushions, stack pillows. And then when you get there, press the elbows to the inner thighs. Hands are at prayer. And keep broadening, keep widening here. Keep strengthening and stretching the inner thighs. Take an inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. Spine is nice and long. And then we're going to stretch right arm out to the side. Press the tricep to the inner right knee. Right fingertips reach out. And then left arm reaches up and bat at a diagonal, coming through a twist. Take an inhale. And an exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Come back through center. Other side. Press the inner left knee, inner left thigh to the back of that left arm. Stretch the left fingertips out and then reach the right arm up and back. Find that twist. Find the connection of the left leg to the left arm and keep squeezing them together. Keep reaching right arm back. Keep finding that twist. Keep breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very, very good. Come back through center. We're going to lift ourselves up the same way that we came down. So take your hands down to the earth. Start to take the body weight forward. Start to lift the butt off of the blocks. And then just start to press yourself up nice and strong. Very good. Last little bit of pelvic rotations. Hands can be on the low back or on the hips. Take it around town. Take it in those nice big circles. And reverse. Very good job. Bend into the knees and then fold over the thighs. Hands come down to the earth and then just come into tabletop. Drop the knees down. Slowly, slowly, slowly to get there. We're going to thread the needle. One last little twist to close off the practice. Inhale, reach your left arm up. And then thread. So thread the left arm under the right. Come down onto your left shoulder. If you can't find the left shoulder connection of the earth, take a block and place it under your left shoulder. So the left cheek and the left shoulder are kind of resting on the block like a little pillow. Right arm is reaching up and overhead and really allowing you to twist through the upper back. Thighs are nice and wide here to make space for the belly. And you keep leaning back, keep looking under the armpits. Breathe for about 5 to 10 full deep breaths. Two more breaths. Inhale. Out your mouth. Exhale. Inhale. Out your mouth. Exhale. Good job. Right hand down. Lift yourself up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Other side. Right arm reaches up. And then thread right arm under the left. Come on to the right shoulder. And of course, take that block, make it into a little pillow under the right knee, right shoulder, right ear, right shoulder, sorry. Left arm comes up and overhead to help you with this twist. We really allow ourselves to be here in the moment with our bodies, with the life that is inside of you. Finding gratitude for this moment, even though through all of the changes that you are facing in your body and in your life,
There is so much gratitude to be found in the people that love you, in the roof over your head, in the love that surrounds you. Knowing that change is a part of life. And change is good. We embrace change with open arms. Being the creators that we are, the nurturers that we are, we allow for the feminine energy to guide us through these changes. And doing it with grace, with kindness for ourselves. Take 2 more breaths. Good. Press into the left hand, lift yourself up.
Oh, and I'm going to let you finish practice in any pose that you're wanting. So you can come back into child's pose with the thighs open super wide, making space for the belly to drop down, and then again resting the forearms on the blocks so the belly has more space. You can also come back into that supported hero's pose. So with the blocks stacked and the butt kind of rests on the blocks. You can also just come down to a seat or onto your back. Any last finishing posture. We're just going to close out with those 3 affirmations as we find the connection to ourselves once again. And take your hands to your belly. Start to breathe. With the inhale, close down the eyes. I am a divine creator. Repeating this to yourself 3 times. I am a divine creator. I am powerful and loving. Repeating this to yourself 3 times. I am powerful and loving. The last one, repeating to yourself, I have life inside of me. I love my body. Deepest breaths yet. I have life inside of me. I love my body. Last one. I have life inside of me. I love my body. Take your hands together to prayer at heart center. Smile to the lips, signaling to the brain, to the baby, that you are in a blissful, peaceful state of gratitude, of happiness, of joy, of excitement, of the gift that you are about to bring into the world, this creation. Thank you so much for practicing. You can practice this sequence, this flow throughout any time, as many days of the week as you want, as many days of the week as your body is asking for. And also honor the rest that you need. Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing me to practice with and to hold the space for you. Namaste.